Welcome to the Cenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going to be looking at something I think we all deal with pretty much every day, and that's stress.
Yeah.
We're going to be going in depth into how stress affects mental health.
Yeah.
And looking at it beyond just your typical like good stress versus bad stress kind of thing.
Right.
We've got some awesome research to help us with that.
Yeah.
And this research is going to help us identify some specific types of stressors that we might encounter.
Right.
And how the impact is differently.
Definitely.
And then it even offers some advice on how to deal with those stressors.
Yeah, I think, one of the really interesting things that we're going to see in this research is that stress isn't always, some huge life event.
Right. Yeah.
It can be these little everyday things that build up over time and really have a big impact.
Interesting. Okay, so before we get into all that, let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is a stressor?
Uh-huh.
And how does it affect our mental well-being?
So a stressor is basically anything that disrupts your body's equilibrium. Yeah.
And in terms of the mental health impacts, it really depends on whether that stressor is a short-term thing or a long-term drain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this research is so helpful because it really breaks down stressors into 6 distinct types.
6 types. I was thinking more like just work deadlines and driving in traffic.
Yeah, it's more than that. Acute stress, chronic stress, psychological stress, environmental stress, social stress, and then physiological stress.
Wow, okay, that's a lot more than I was thinking. So let's start breaking those down. What's the difference between acute and chronic stress? I'm guessing acute is like the more intense kind.
Yeah, you got it. So an acute stressor is sort of a sudden burst of pressure.
Okay.
Think about something like a pop quiz or a near-miss fender bender. You get that quick surge of adrenaline,
Oh, yeah.
cortisol, all the stress hormones,
Mm-hmm.
but then it fades away pretty quickly once that event is over.
Okay, that makes sense. So then chronic stress would be more like if you were constantly living with that feeling of a pop quiz hanging over your head. Imagine that feeling lasting for, weeks or months or even years.
Oh, wow.
That's chronic stress.
Yeah.
So things like, having a toxic work environment or struggling with financial problems, the difficult relationship. These things can keep your body in that heightened state of alert for a prolonged period of time.
Wow.
And that's what really takes a toll.
Okay, yeah. I can see how that could lead to some serious mental health problems.
Oh, absolutely. Chronic stress can actually disrupt the balance of key neurotransmitters in your brain,
Okay.
like serotonin and dopamine.
The ones that make us feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the neurotransmitters that help us feel good and help regulate our emotions.
So it's not just like all in our heads, it's actually like affecting our brain chemistry.
Right. And this can lead to, a higher risk of things like anxiety and depression.
Makes sense.
Like your brain is stuck in overdrive,
Yeah.
constantly on alert for the next threat.
So we've talked about like those external stressors like the pop quiz or the bad work environment.
Right.
But what about the pressures that we put on ourselves?
Yeah, that's where psychological stressors come in.
Okay.
And this is all about the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
The negative self-talk, the perfectionism, the worrying.
Oh, yeah, that inner critic could be pretty brutal sometimes.
It can. And the research actually shows that these internal pressures can be just as damaging as any of those external stressors. It can lead to low self-esteem and anxiety.
Ah.
It can even make us less likely to go after our goals because we're so afraid of failing.
I am already rethinking how I view stress in my own life. This is eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about like acute stress, chronic stress, and that psychological stress.
Yeah.
Those are already 3 huge categories.
Right.
Are all stressors kind of like that, or are there others that come from like outside of ourselves and our own thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Remember, there are 6 types total. We still have environmental and social, and then also physiological.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about environmental stressors. What are some examples of those?
Well, think about the things in your surroundings that might be stressing you out.
Okay.
Often things you don't have much control over.
Right.
So like noise pollution, for example.
Yeah.
From traffic or construction.
Okay.
Or even just living in a really cluttered or chaotic space.
Okay, so it's not just like, major disasters.
Right.
It could even be those everyday annoyances
Exactly.
in our environment that are contributing to our stress.
Yeah. And these things can really wear you down over time. Make it difficult to feel relaxed and at ease in your own home or in your neighborhood.
That makes sense. It's almost like a low-level buzz that you don't even really realize is affecting you
Yeah,
until you get away from it.
exactly. And then, of course, we have social stressors, which can be some of the most challenging to deal with.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, relationships and social pressures can be a real pain.
Yeah, we're talking about things like workplace conflicts or tension within your family, feeling isolated or lonely, or experiencing any kind of discrimination or harassment.
Yeah, I could see how those types of social situations would trigger that stress response.
They do. And it's interesting because even positive social events can be stressful for some people,
Oh, that's true.
like planning a wedding
Right.
or starting a new job.
Yeah. Big changes, even when they're good, can be really stressful.
Absolutely. And speaking of changes, we can't forget about those physiological stressors,
Right.
the ones that directly impact our body.
Okay.
So these are things like lack of sleep,
Uh-huh.
poor nutrition, chronic pain, or even pushing yourself too hard at the gym.
Oh, so even exercising
Right.
can become stressors if we overdo it.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah.
And when your body's out of whack, it can trigger that same stress response as those external stressors we talked about.
This is really making me realize just how much stress plays a role in our everyday lives
Uh-huh.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about those big dramatic events.
Right.
It's like the accumulation of all these little stressors that can really wear us down over time.
You're absolutely right. And that's why it's so important to have healthy coping mechanisms in place.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about those coping mechanisms.
Okay.
What are some effective ways to manage stress and protect our mental well-being?
Well, the first step is becoming aware of your stressors, taking inventory
Okay.
of what's putting pressure on you, both internally and externally.
Okay.
A stress journal can be really helpful for this.
So it's kind of like getting those stressors out of our head
Yeah,
and onto paper.
exactly. Once you know what you're dealing with, you can start to develop some targeted strategies.
Okay.
And one of the most powerful tools is something called cognitive reframing.
Cognitive reframing. What's
Yeah.
that?
So it's about challenging those negative thoughts and assumptions that can fuel our stress.
Okay.
So instead of automatically thinking like, I can't handle this,
Right.
you try asking yourself, well, what's one step that I can take right now?
Okay.
It's about shifting your perspective to focus on what you can control.
That's a good way to put it. It's like you're choosing to look at the situation through a different lens.
Yeah,
A more empowering lens.
exactly.
Yeah.
And another key strategy is mindfulness.
Okay.
So practices like meditation or deep breathing exercises can help you cultivate a sense of present moment awareness,
Uh-huh.
which can really help calm your mind and body even in the middle of chaos.
I've heard a lot about mindfulness, but I've always been a bit skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
Can it really make that much of a difference in managing stress?
It really can. Research has shown that these mindfulness practices can actually lower those stress hormones,
Okay.
improve your sleep,
Wow.
and even boost your immune system.
Okay. Maybe I need to give it a try. What are some other stress-busting strategies that people can try?
Well, one that's often overlooked is time management.
Okay.
So if you're constantly feeling rushed and overwhelmed, learning to prioritize your tasks,
Uh-huh.
breaking down large projects into smaller steps, and setting realistic deadlines can make a huge difference.
That makes sense. Poor time management can definitely be a major stressor in itself.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Of course. Maintaining a balanced lifestyle is key.
Okay.
So we're talking about, those foundational habits, regular exercise,
Right.
nutritious food, and adequate sleep.
Right.
These things nourish your body and mind, and they make you more resilient to stress.
It's like building a solid foundation to help weather those stressful storms.
You got it. And don't underestimate the power of social support.
Yeah.
Talking to someone you trust, whether it's a friend or a family member or a therapist, can help you process those difficult emotions
Uh-huh.
and feel less alone in your struggles.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner reminding you that you're not alone.
Exactly. And speaking of support, if you're feeling really overwhelmed, don't hesitate to reach out to a mental health professional.
Okay.
They can provide personalized strategies and support, and they can also help you address any underlying mental health issues that might be contributing to your stress.
That's such an important reminder. Sometimes we need a little extra support, and there's no shame in asking for it.
Absolutely. There are so many resources available, from therapy to support groups to online resources.
Yeah.
You just have to find what works best for you.
This has been so helpful. I feel like we've covered so much ground from, the different types of stressors to all these practical strategies for managing them.
It's a lot to take in,
Yeah.
but the key takeaway is that you have more power than you think to manage stress and protect your mental well-being.
I love that. It's not about eliminating stress altogether.
Right.
It's about finding ways to navigate it more effectively. Okay, so it feels like we've covered just about every angle of stress here. But before we wrap up, I'm curious about something. We've talked about all these types of stressors and these different coping mechanisms, but doesn't everybody kind of respond to stress differently?
That's a great point, and it's one of the things that makes stress management so complex. There's no one-size-fits-all approach
Right.
because we all have different thresholds for stress and different ways of coping.
So what is it that makes some people seemingly just breeze through challenges while others get totally thrown off?
Well, it's a mix of nature and nurture. Genetics play a role for sure. Some people are just naturally wired to be more resilient to stress.
Okay.
But our life experiences and our personality traits and even our social support network,
Right.
all those things can influence how we respond to stresses.
So even if you weren't born with that, chill gene, you can still build up your resilience to stress.
Absolutely. And a lot of the strategies we've already talked about can help with that. Things like cognitive reframing and mindfulness and having a strong support system. Those are all resilience builders.
So it's about equipping ourselves with the tools to navigate those stressful situations more effectively.
Exactly. And it's about developing a growth mindset where you see those challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to learn and grow.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
about reframing those tough moments as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks.
Right. And remember, self-care isn't a luxury. It's essential for building that resilience.
Yeah.
When you prioritize the things that nourish your mind, body, and spirit, you're much better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah,
You got to take care of yourself so you can show up for others and tackle those challenges.
that's a perfect way to put it. And in a world that's, constantly demanding our attention and energy,
Yeah.
making time for self-care is more important than ever.
This whole conversation has been a valuable reminder that, stress is a normal part of life. We don't have to let it control us.
Exactly. The key is to, become aware of your stressors,
Right.
develop healthy coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
and prioritize that self-care. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are resources available to support you,
Uh-huh.
whether it's, a friend or a family member or a therapist, even just a helpful podcast.
Well said. And on that note, we want to thank you all for joining us for this deep dive into stress and mental health. Hopefully you walked away with some valuable insights and a renewed sense of empowerment.
Yeah,
And remember, you have more control over your stress levels than you might think.
you do.
So take a deep breath, try out some of those strategies we talked about,
Uh-huh.
and keep taking care of yourselves. Until next time, stay well.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.